So, top 3 upcoming crowdfunding games of the week as we approach the first full week in August. Now, 8th is going to be an interesting day. As we saw this past week, the biggest funder wasn't even on my list of games to be aware of. So, always an interesting time. But without further ado, check out yesterday's roundup. A little bit of sass, a little bit more than usual, just because I missed the previous week. How was my vacation? How does it tie into the shirt I'm wearing? Well, tune in, find out. Let's go. By the way, did I mention I have a Patreon and they got some secrets yesterday? Yeah, I did. Let's go. So first one up is going to be Ascendancy. I actually have a copy of this sitting out by my kitchen table right now because this is a 4X meets worker placement, asymmetric, faction leading, battling paper, scissors, rock style game. Now I say paper, scissors, rock because the combat is going to have that element of things as a solo competitive and cooperative game, but more deterministic rather than say your take that style of chaos that often accompanies these games that people are somewhat turned off by at times. Not me, don't get me wrong, but I really enjoy both. And so if you're looking for a Gloomhaven-esque battle combat system, well, or at least in the sense that it's less random, this might be up your ilk. Now, Ascendancy is going to be very interesting because there's not really a whole lot else like there out this from a one. Now, it's going to be really interesting because there's not really a whole lot else out there like this in this 4X worker placement aspect style of games, with one more turn games showing us kind of where things can go with this. A lot of different factions, a lot of different lineages and tech trees that you're going to be introducing, upgrading, and progressing. It's just going to be, okay, does it really suit you? Because this also has the potential to be a much heavier, longer game by its nature. The playtime listed right now is 1.5 to 6 hours. 7 hours? Yeah, so that's what you need to be aware of. I mean, the weight overall on Board Game Geek is only 3.6, so it's not going to be the heaviest thing you're going to be playing, but by the length of development over the 4 years in the game, in the lines of the previously Heroes of Might and Magic, Civ style, as well as they say, drawing inspiration from Magic the Gathering and Game of Thrones. I mean, those are some hefty things to be combining. Now, it's been online on one of the Tabletopia simulators, whatever, which one, I forget, for a while. And so people have been playing it for a while as well. And that's going to be the tricky test of things. Now, I'm guessing, unfortunately, I'm probably not going to have my video out on the day of launch because I just got it in this past week. So we're going to kind of see how it goes. But engine building, tableau, worker placement, explore, establish, area control, build, single scenarios versus multi-campaign sessions, branching generations, and marriage decisions are going to go along with this. I showed the website that they have personally over on the video of the upcoming August games, and you can see just off the top here with these cards, there's a lot of information going on. There's a lot of numbers, there's a lot of text, there's a lot of different skills that you're going to be having to manage to go along with that. And it looks beautiful. It's just hex-based, giving you sort of a 4X style Dwellings of Elderville appearance from the get-go. Your different worker placements, your different Euro-inspired economics, as they say, and your own personal house. So if you don't see the Dwellings of Elderville comparisons right now, with even maybe a little bit of Uprising, Curse of the Last Emperor, I mean, that gives me what the vibe is, only with the houses, as they mentioned, more of a Game of Thrones feel as well. So I'm intrigued to see how this fares for me over the weekend, and I will definitely be giving you more information as things, well, develop and as the campaign goes on. And the other question you have to ask yourself here, as you can see, scenarios with boss battles are being highlighted, legacy traits that I mentioned earlier, thematic objectives, and quests, is just that what's the price point going to be for something like this? That is going to be the make it or break it. Is it going to be, $150 for this? Is it going to be $85 for this? I see this falling along the lines of a Dwellings of Elderville, where maybe you do deluxify it, or, maybe you have something tiered like that where people can customize a little bit to their deluxification extent of love, if you will. So that's the first one, by far and away, that's got the most attention this week, without a doubt. So what's second this week? Well, we've seen it in a little bit different way already with Windward, but we're seeing this with now Mistwind. Mistwind Islands are being explored as flying cities, and you have basically a whale ship, flying whale ship, that eats krill. Yes, I'm not making this stuff up, folks. And you're going to be managing this network building, pick up and deliver style game over 4 rounds with a worker placement emphasis. 4 rounds sounds like a lot, sounds like a little, depending on where you fall, because they say that these rounds are rather extensive, and how you're earning points of completing these networks, as well as delivering the resources to the various capital cities and engaging and getting demand tokens for endgame scoring points. The main gist of this, going diametrically opposed to the previous Ascendancy, is you have action discs numbered 1 to 5, and at the beginning of every round you choose to discard one of them and not use it, and then you play these action number discs in slots where there can only be one of them each time, and until you've used all 4, it ends the round. So you can see how if you're going turntable, not just place, go, but I place 1, I do an action. You place 1, you do an action. I place 1, you do an action. I place 1, you do an action. So if you had 3 or 4 people doing that, yeah, it could be a little bit of a lengthier process, especially as you progress throughout the round and as the rounds go deeper and the action combinatorial system becomes more complex. So this has about a 2-hour playtime. Its weight is slightly less than that, but this also apparently is going to have a solo mode, as it's listed as 1 to 5 players from First Fish Games. Apart from that, not a whole lot of other info. There's a little bit of a Gen Con preview video, there's a little bit of forums discussion, but not a whole lot of other information. So we're going to have to see more when it actually goes live, and I'm wondering if we're just going to see another one of these campaigns where all of the information comes out right at the time of the campaign, which, you know, it's okay. I'm okay with that. Show me what you got. Third up this week, we have a different spin on the 2-player Mage Dueler Magic the Gathering-esque style of game, and that's Algomancy. Again, I covered this one at the Games to Know for the month of August, just because I don't really know what to make of this. We've seen other things like Mage Noir and other head-to-head mage-type duelers, Magic the Gathering-esque vibes that sometimes make traction on crowdfunding, sometimes don't really make traction on crowdfunding. And this is an asymmetric vying for control versus an AI simulation, and you're summoning armies, augmenting your objects, and attacking each other, and it gives you abilities to either pre-draft or cube draft a la Magic the Gathering in the first place. It's just not also clear to me, based on the description fully, whether or not this is going to be a pre-game sort of situation or an actual in-game situation, so that you can sort of streamline it a little bit more. You can also do team versus team, potentially up to 5 versus 5, but they say working best at 3 versus 3. It's definitely got a Magic the Gathering mage dueling vibe. I give the art and the aesthetic credit for that, but what makes it that much more outstanding or unique? What's the price point going to be? How FOMO driven is it going to be, as we've seen with some of these, even like a Rockin' Wars from 2 years ago that, you know, definitely had some exclusivity that rocketed it up into the 6-digit funding side of things. So I have no idea what to expect with this one, and that's kind of, it's the wild card of the week. And I wouldn't be surprised if it has a hard time funding. I wouldn't be surprised if you're talking 6 digits. It's just one of those wild, wild west crowdfunding campaigns that, you know, is always appealing to see what happens getting your popcorn ready, right? And the last one we're going to have is Legion of Dungeoneers, the reprint with some new content. And that one is going to be a little bit of, well, a lot, actually, if that makes sense. This is probably the closest thing to Dungeons and Dragons in a tabletop game format that I've seen. As I mentioned previously, I had a copy of it before the first campaign went live. Super detailed, super almost, and I don't say this as a negative, right? Accounting style D&D. I mean, this is you keeping track of a lot of minutia, a lot of party stuff, a lot of personal character stuff, and a lot of upkeep in terms of the monsters and the team. And it kind of goes back and forth. It's very detailed. The designer did an amazing job of putting a lot of effort into this. But if you're not necessarily looking for something that in depth, this one I could easily see appealing to some and not others, just again, knowing what you're getting yourself into. The other thing it sort of reminds me of is a heavier version of Dungeon Universalis, if you remember that one, where, you know, they kind of gave you the D&D feel as much as possible, but, you know, it was still deep but lighter in terms of the rules, but definitely D&D inspired. This one is D&D inspired too, just to a much nth degree. So, I mean, this one did really well though. 6 digits on the first time around in terms of the hundreds of thousands of dollars. because the desire for something simulating that is out there. It's just, again, is this the right campaign style D&D-esque game for you or not? Do you prefer that much overhead upkeep, or, you know, the benefit that it provides you of not having to do that, or the downside potentially, depending on how you want to look at it, of not having to keep track of that, but also just not getting maybe the full experience of something else that you're looking for in the first place? So again, is the market out there? Is this going to be a lot of returning people going for it? Is it going to be a lot of new people going in? That's really the test of the market and determines how well these second ones fund when they come around again. So those are the three biggest of the week. If you missed it, you know, I had a couple of videos this week talking about don't buy this at Gen Con, buy this instead. And then, you know what, I did the dichotomous other side of things, the games I have my eye on at Gen Con that are at least getting released in some way, shape, or form, extent-wise, in the near future. But again, not to buy, folks. Let me be very clear about this. I put those videos out to put them on your radar, not to say, hey, you should really buy this, because I find that it's way too easy, especially with video content, to be like, buy, get this. And that's not what I do on this channel whatsoever. So, as always, full disclaimer there. Now, what else is going on? Well, I mentioned the shirt earlier, right? We're going to get sidetracked here on personal business. If you can't see, this shirt is Naruto at the ramen shop. If you're familiar with the show at all, ninja-based anime, right? Super popular. One of the most popular animes that's come out ever, or at least in the last, 3 decades. And I mentioned in the roundup video yesterday, right? We went on vacation, and my birthday was actually over the vacation. And I got absolutely nothing for my birthday. Zero, zilch, which is fine, whatever, no big deal. My wife and I have talked about that previously, and we really don't get each other a lot of gifts because, when you're married this long and you can buy what you want, you tend to just do that. But at the end of the week, she had gone out, like on the last day we were on vacation. She's like, oh, I found this thrift shop in the middle of nowhere, right? And she's like, I got this shirt for you. And isn't that a show you used to watch? She doesn't even know the name of the show. No clue what it is. She just recognized the character. And to be fair, from the thrift shop, it's actually a relatively well-made shirt, although it's definitely not fully my aesthetic. I am a minimalistic, very pointed but understated style in terms of the t-shirts I wear nowadays when I go and buy them online. So I'm very specific, and so it doesn't actually match that. So all I can do is laugh. But that's why I'm also wearing it, because, why not, right? So who cares? It's comfortable. Apart from that, I played a bunch of stuff over the vacation. I played a bunch of stuff. Ark Nova, Earth, Clank Catacombs, Spirit Island, Jagged Earth. What else did we get played? Wiz War. Just a bunch of stuff. And so this next upcoming week, I'm going to have a bunch of reviews coming out. I'm late on about half a dozen reviews. And so this week is going to be hopefully having about 3 reviews come out at least, because of stuff I'm late with, as well as, the previously mentioned Ascendancy, which may or may not come out this week as well, depending on how things go this weekend, because I'm single parenting this weekend for the next 48 hours, and not a whole lot gets done. Not that it's, difficult, but it's just busy. Just busy, because my wife's going to be gone for 2 nights, and so be it. It's okay. She's getting away. It's good. I'm not working. It's also good. So take that for what it is. And, things are going well otherwise. Hopefully we can break at least 9K by the end of the year, but slow growth is going on well on the channel. Love to break 10K. That's the magic number, I feel like, on the board game scene of things. I still had a couple of publishers in the last month or two be like, oh, you're really under the radar. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what to do anymore. I sign up for all the reviewer stuff on publishers' websites, and actually, I get relatively good response nowadays too, which is fantastic. It still boggles my mind that people are willing to send me stuff, which means all the more so I need to get more reviews out talking about these games that people are willing to send me in the first place. So, and I'm trying to purge stuff. I need to purge stuff. My wife was like, I moved out some of the kids' toys from one of these other upstairs closets so that you can put some stuff in there, because we had a bunch of stuff on the counter and the kitchen table, and she was very nicely sick of it. So I rearranged a bunch of stuff, but I got to do more of that. Apart from that, again, just too many games and not enough time to play. So that's going to be the big thing the next couple weeks. August is kind of a little bit of a low-key month overall, but I'll tell you right now, as I pull it up on the computer while I'm talking here, September, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 things already that if I name dropped either the name of the company, their pedigree, or the name of the game, you would recognize. 12 already right now. 12. So September, I kid you not, could easily be the biggest month of the year. And October's probably not going to be too far behind that either, because there's already a couple, 3 or 4 big names there. So, I mean, don't overlook August. You know, I'm looking at Wizards & Co. right now from Sinister Fish Games. That's the only thing that's heavily on my radar. But we'll see. I've got a pre-order coming of, you know, because I couldn't avoid it. I pre-ordered it. Put my money where my mouth is here at the end of the video, right? I pre-ordered Spirit Island Nature Incarnate at retail. So it was supposed to be released the day of me filming this. Haven't seen anything from Game Nerds yet about my order. So we'll see. You know, people were saying online that they have had their FLGS, their friendly local game store, have copies already. So it's just a matter of time when some of the online distributors get it. As well as some of the Marvel Champions X-Men stuff. So the NXT Evolution one, the X-Men one, as well as a couple people online have already picked up or had them delivered in terms of the Gambit and, was it Rogue? No, Gambit and Angel in terms of the solo character packs, which I've been super tempted by as well. So, no, not Gambit. Gambit's been out for a while, right? I think it was Angel and Psylocke, maybe? I don't know, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. But some places just get those super early, and it's kind of interesting to see who it is. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on in terms of getting stuff played, and as well, I have a couple of those bigger name ones coming to me as well, hopefully to talk about into I don't preview, impressions video-wise for September as well, because again, a couple of them you'll recognize easily. That's all I got. Hopefully you have a good weekend. Let me know what games you'd like to see me review. Let me know what would incentivize you to get you over to my Patreon. I need to redo the page. I think the page hasn't been done since I've really kind of, you know, like last year and a half. So I'm going to update that and be more informative about that. I'm also thinking about making like a new intro video, but that would be like splicing a lot of blurbs and outtakes and stuff from other previous videos. And I don't keep those videos a ton around. So that'd be a lot of a side project that I should do at some point. But yeah. That's all I got. See, like Battle of Britain, like Batoku, Jerusalem. Got a couple sitting next to me. Get her done. Stay classy. See you around.